this some kind of joke? I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight.
You don't know what death is.
We're live.
Are we?
Yeah, we're live. My name... I forgot what stupid name I came up with. My name is Crabapple Steve. And that over there...
Scraps McDaggers.
Yes, that's Scraps McDaggers. Don't
Come on,
forget that
have
name.
some enthusiasm. We just watched Halloween 2.
We did just watch Halloween 2. That's what we're covering today, actually, is Halloween 2. So
We're like Halloween poo. No.
I made that joke before the movie. It was never supposed to make it on the podcast, but whatever, it's fine.
Hey,
also,
it's
if you watched our last episode, if you're an OG, if you're a diehard, then you already know our real names. So
And if you watched something that you have to listen to, I need to know how you did that.
yeah, see, look at me messing up my words already. It's fine. We're live. I don't care.
Don't steal
Anyway.
goblin powers.
Anyway, yeah, welcome to Gore Goblins. Today we're covering Halloween 2, which came out in 1981, directed by Rick Rosenthal and written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. And at first I'd like to go over a little backstory on this one, because like any good horror franchise, it's mildly frustrating to me because I think the first movie's like almost perfect, right?
Almost.
It doesn't need a sequel, in my opinion. Okay?
Maybe it did.
See, Justin feels differently, but to me, it didn't need a sequel. So, basically, it made a lot of money, the first one, and then Mustafa Akkad, the producer of the first one, the producer of almost all of them up until, I think, Resurrection. I'll get fact-checked on that, I'm sure.
Or your resurrection's bad anyway.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when I'm not looking forward to that one. But anyway, he was like, hey, we want to make a franchise out of this. And John Carpenter initially was like, hey, I want to do an anthology thing because Michael's story is over as far as I'm concerned, right? And then Mustafa was like, yeah, but people only care about Michael, dude. And then John Carpenter was like, all right. So then him and Deborah Hill got together, and I think they were still dating at the time. I don't remember. They were married or some shit. I don't care. It's John Carpenter.
He got over the hill.
Fuck off. So John Carpenter and Deborah Hill locked themselves in a room and wrote this. And my favorite piece of trivia with this is that John Carpenter got really fucking drunk and he was writing the script. And as he typed the words that Laurie Strode was Michael's sister, spoiler alert, by the way, sorry, it's a 40-year-old movie, who cares? When he typed the words, Laurie Strode is Michael's sister, he thought to himself, what the fuck am I doing? And what the fuck was he doing indeed? Because that's a twist, all right. But yeah, so then he wrote that, and it was his idea to make it gorier, and his idea to make it like, I guess a little different from the first one, because it does feel a little tonally different. And then Rick Rosenthal, everybody's favorite Halloween Resurrection director, directed this one. Did you know that, Justin? Did you know Rick Rosenthal directed Halloween Resurrection?
No,
Well,
I did not.
Well, now you know, and it's gonna have to haunt you. Anything you want to say about Halloween 2, Justin? For
It's
our
not
little
going to
intro
haunt
here?
me, but I mean, yeah, you can tell Halloween 2 was a movie that didn't really want to be made.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate that it was made because it continued Halloween.
And we love Halloween, despite all of its flaws, yeah. But
Despite this technically being only the second time I've watched Halloween 2.
yeah, I had only seen bits and pieces of it, and then this was the first time I really sat down and watched all of it. My mom saw it when it came out, because I remember her talking about a specific kill that we'll talk about when we get to the kills. But yeah, this is the first time I sat down and watched it.
I assure you, though, we love the franchise.
Yeah, we do. Even though I might shit all over this movie. I don't know about Justin, but I might talk a little bit of shit
I mean,
because
it has
there's
some good points.
there's some parts that are a little off, I guess is the right word. We'll talk about it. It's fine. But anyway, first we want to talk about the characters.
Characters, of course, coming back. Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis again.
Jamie Lee Curtis returns as Laurie Strode.
She barely had to do anything in this movie.
Yeah, and that's kind of a disappointment, I guess, because, she's the original Scream Queen, so it's kind of like, I guess, disappointing to see her in a hospital bed for like 75% of the movie, and then she doesn't really do anything towards the end. Like she fights. I mean, she's got like, I guess she fights back a little bit, but it's not nearly to the extent of the first movie. And I guess you could say, oh well, she's injured, but I don't know. It's just I feel like she was underutilized.
Didn't really give off that survival girl tone.
No,
There was just kind of shit in Michael's way.
yeah, and that's one of the flaws with this movie is
Wait. Oh, okay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is Michael ever brought up in the credits? Because I was looking and I didn't see it.
No, but I know who plays him if that's your question. Because I know who plays him. It's Dick Warlock. What a name, first
Dick
of all.
Warlock.
What a name, first of all. Second of all, yes, it's Dick Warlock. And that's partly...
He was probably born a goblin.
Yeah, I'll talk about him when we get to him on the list. But also coming back is Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis.
Who basically carries this whole fucking movie.
And he's fucking insane because he shot Michael. I shot Michael six
times!
I shot him 6 times! And he's just screaming that to anybody that'll listen. And yeah, I don't blame him. He shot the man. He did shoot the man 6 times.
6 times!
And he just got up and fucking, like it was nothing. So yeah. He's a little more unhinged in this one. He's not as professional as he was in the first one.
He's coming undone.
Yes, exactly. That's for all the Korn fans out there. Oh my God.
I don't like Korn that much.
That's for all the good Korn fans. If I could, I'd do Twist right now, but I don't want to do that to my mic. But that's besides the point because he's back as Dr. Loomis. He's packing the whole movie too. I don't think there's a single scene where he doesn't have his fucking gun in his hand. He is ready to fight at all times. It is amazing. And then of course we also have Charles Cyphers coming back as Lee Brackett, Sheriff Brackett, Annie's dad.
Who has like the most awkward spelling of the name Lee I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's and he's not in it for that much either. He's kind of just in the beginning, just when Loomis is initially searching for Mikey, and and he kind of fucks off real quick after he finds Annie's body, or after they tell him Annie's body. But before they find Annie's body, something crazy happens, which I kind of want to talk about now, but I don't know if I want to wait.
It's one of the kills, so we gotta
that'll be in the kill section. There's some fucking loony happens. And then let me see, who else do we have here? I'm trying to remember. We also got Jimmy, who's played by a dude named Lance Guest. I don't know what else he's been in.
I don't know, but if his performance is anything to make note of, then probably nothing else after this.
Yeah, Jimmy was a very uninteresting character. He like kind of creeps on Lori a little bit, like while she's sleeping and stuff, and then like he like I don't know, he for some reason he takes a liking to Lori like immediately, and that's cool,
because she goes to school with his brother.
Was it his? Yeah, it was his brother, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
then
I thought at first it was the guy that she had a crush on.
Yeah, that it was Ben Tramer. Yeah. But no, it's like some other dude. I don't know. I don't even remember the name that he gave out. I just remember...
Oh, that was who it was? That guy? Oh, wait. Never mind.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that later.
And then there's another police officer that takes Brackett's place after Brackett like goes to mourn Annie.
Deputy Hunt.
Yeah, that's Deputy Hunt. Yeah, played by Hunter Von Leer. You remember who Graham is? Because I don't remember who Graham is. I'm looking at the cast list now, and I do not remember a Graham.
Is he just another nameless cop? Probably.
He might have been a nameless cop, yeah. Or he might have been like...
The one that kept coming up saying, well, what do we do now?
Yeah, he might have been... That might have been him. I don't know. There's a lot of... That's the weakest thing about this one is all the characters. The characters kind of...
Aside from one... Well, aside from Officer Hunt and one of the douchebag paramedics, none of them really had personalities.
Yeah, they're all very one note.
Like the original cast, like you loved them all, and these new ones, you were just like, God, can they die already?
Yeah, like you got this Nurse Ratched type, I believe, whose name is Miss Alves. I'm gonna go with Alves, played by Gloria Gifford. I don't know.
She's just a bitch.
She was a bitch. Yeah, she She was real one note. She was a very Nurse Ratched type. For no reason at all. She was just kind of mean. But the douchebag that Justin just mentioned was Bud, played by Leo Rossi, looking like a discount Robert De Niro, and I know that's been said before, but I don't really care. Because he does look like a discount Robert De Niro. And he's got like this one line of dialogue where he's like where he just like keeps swearing, and then like one of the other nurses is like, Bud, every other word is a damn or a shit. Why do you keep doing it? And then he's like, well, I just fuck things up, hoo-hoo. And I'm like, I want to punch this man. I hate him.
I mean, I enjoy cursing as much as the next guy, but he made me hate it.
But he's because he's boring. It's just
fucking ruined cursing for me.
Oh.
Fuck.
Oh yeah, he's an annoying character. I didn't like him. But it's a slasher movie. You're not gonna like half the fucking characters, and I think that's where the first Halloween is kind of like.
Yeah, I liked all the characters in the first.
You like
movie.
all the characters in Halloween, despite the fact that they're kind of ditzy or whatever, but they're all memorable.
They had personality.
They're all memorable. Even creepy ass Bud who wants to tear.
You mean Bob?
Bob, yeah. What did I say his name was?
You said Bud.
Bud?
That's the douchebag from this movie.
Yeah, Bob wants to tear off what's her name's clothes, the little girl. Linda, was that her name?
Yeah.
Linda's clothes. Yeah, even that creepy dude had he's memorable because I remember that line and I almost remembered his name. And then we have some other nurses in there too. We have one blonde nurse that I can't remember the name of. That was Jill. The blonde nurse was Jill.
I only knew that because I read her name tag when it came up.
So
they never said her name once.
We got the blonde nurse played by Jill, Tawny Moyer. That's the actress that plays her, and then the other nurse that's fucking around with Bud, who I wanna say her name because I'm looking at the names. I don't know if it's Karen.
Wasn't it Grace?
I don't know if it's Janet. Hold on. Let me see. Let me look for a Grace.
Or it might have been Janet.
It's either Janet or Karen. I don't even remember a Karen. Who the fuck was Karen?
The friend that got dropped off, maybe.
That was Darcy. No. She was getting dropped off at. You know what?
Anyway, nameless characters. They don't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter. These are the nameless characters. Yeah, like I wanted to be like, oh, here's the actors, and I'm like, but I don't care about half the characters in this fucking movie. Marion Chambers does come back though. Was her last name Chambers? I want to say her last name was Chambers. I might be getting that name mixed up with something else. But the nurse that was driving Dr. Loomis in the first one, Marion. She comes back, played by Nancy Stevens again. And she's in there for like 5 minutes too. It really just felt like more of a cameo than anything because that's what it was. And
you remember
yeah.
Bud's great song?
I don't.
Oh, sweet Grace, please sit on my face.
Please sit on my face.
Don't make me cry. I just want to eat your pie.
Oh my god. Yeah, Yeah, he
just wanted to fuck one nurse the entire time.
Just one, and that's what was funny is because Jimmy was like, "You shut up, Bud, you fucking asshole," and then Bud was like, "What?" And Jimmy's like, "We're in a hospital, people are fucking dead and shit." And Michael's on the loose, and all you want to do is fuck. What is this? Friday the 13th? Come on. And no, he doesn't even get any. That's the best part.
They had to make him a believer.
All right. Well, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that. But that's besides the point. We also have the doctor. Can't forget about the doctor, Mr. Garrett. I remember his name.
That was the security guard.
Oh, see, look at me. I see how memorable these characters are. Yeah, Mr. Garrett. Fuck, was a security guard. Big old boy. Looked like kind of looked like the fat dude from Terminator 2. The other guy that gets stabbed through the eye. You know what I'm talking about. And then I'm assuming Dr. Mixter.
Yeah,
is the one I'm thinking of.
Mixer,
whatever the fuck his name is. I think it says Mixter here.
Yeah, Mixter.
On IMDb. And he was played by Ford Rainey. Mr. Garrett, the security guard, was played by Cliff Emmerich. And those are the characters as far as I can tell. Like we said, a lot of them are real one note, a lot of them aren't really, and this is probably going to be a trend on the show where a lot of the characters are real one note. And we might talk about like a couple of things about them, but don't expect them to be any more memorable coming on in the rest of this franchise, especially.
Yeah.
Because I don't really remember anybody from the more recent films being super memorable. or from H2O, or from definitely not from Resurrection. But I'm getting ahead of myself again. So those are the characters. As you can see, the writing of the characters has suffered quite a bit, and it's real disappointing. But next up, we have to talk about a general synopsis of the movie, which I'll let Justin do that because I don't know. I just do it.
Well, the movie started with just a little flashback scene from the first movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Just the ending part where Michael gets shot down the balcony, which was really a stupidly performed stunt in this movie.
Oh yeah, and another thing I want to add, sorry to cut you off, is that you can tell that I mean, obviously it's reused footage, but like what I mean by this movie's so tonally different is that like even the color grading is different because you can tell when Halloween 2 in quotes begins because the mood of the lighting just changes dramatically. At least I thought so. And yeah, the stunt where he falls off the roof was I think he was going up a ramp and he just kind of fell.
I mean, they
It
could have
looks
just
really
pulled it
funny.
off for him falling over the balcony. Like, I don't see why that was that hard to accomplish unless they were worried about him like falling on his head or something.
I think they just wanted to show a different angle because they could have just reused the scene from the first one where he just falls off. Like he just falls off from
Yeah.
like Loomis's POV, but whatever. They decided to do that. But anyway, continue.
And then the rest of the movie just basically takes place in a hospital because that's aside from the few scenes we see outside of everyone hunting for Michael while he wanders around after getting shot 6 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we didn't get much travel in this movie.
Yeah, because I think all that happens is Laurie gets taken to the hospital, and then yeah, that's where a bulk of it takes place. Like once Michael gets to the hospital, I will say I do like the cool POV shots. From it's a nice little callback to the first movie, when that opening scene, where with the POV shots of him walking around, slinking and slunking, you know,
Yeah.
and even grabbing the knife, because he wanders into like some old lady's house, who's asking her husband, "You want mayo on your sandwich? You want mustard?"
Fucking
and then
disgusting mayo.
her husband's asleep watching like Night of the Living Dead because it's royalty free, so you know everybody uses that.
We didn't get Michael's breathing in the POV shots, though.
Yeah, you know what? We didn't, did we?
Oh.
That's a missed opportunity, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like that aspect of it. But yeah, it's kind of I mean, I know a lot of slashers don't tend to cover a lot of ground, but like I don't know, a hospital would seems like in theory like a good setting, but to me, I don't know, it just didn't really do a lot for me if I'm being honest.
No.
But we get our first kill pretty early on, but because like I'm getting ahead of myself because I want to talk about the kills already. But like I think that's it to the synopsis. There's not really. But we could talk about like. Yeah, just go over like what happens in it. I guess.
We just see Michael traveling.
Yeah.
He's going about his Halloween. A little pissed off now.
Yeah, he's a little angry.
And then makes his way to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. Kills whatever's in his way.
Yeah.
And then we get the stupid fucking, oh, he's Laurie's sister. It's like, there's no way Michael could have known that, so this is not the reason he's doing this.
Maybe he's got telepathic powers like in 4?
He's not telepathic.
5? It's in one of them, isn't
We
it?
can't talk about that
We'll
yet.
talk about it later.
Anyway. So yeah, Michael does his Michael shit, kills whatever's in his way to find Laurie. My whole idea is that he was just angry that Laurie got away.
Yeah.
Like the whole sister thing is just thrown in there for no reason.
Yeah, I think I remember in an interview John Carpenter.
He's just like, I'm gonna bury this fucking franchise.
Yeah, I think that's what his intention was.
This is
like,
what you get for making me do another one.
like off the record. I think that was his intention, low key.
Even the score kind of sucked this time
Yeah,
around.
the score had like a completely different like vibe to it. I don't remember if did John Carpenter do the score on this one? Because man, is it not as good as the original? Like the original's so iconic, and even in the newer movies, the score is great. The score is like the best part, one of the best parts of the newer movies. But man, in this one, it is just like it sounds almost like jovial.
Yeah,
It's
like,
weird. Like it sounds like it's a parody of like the original music score.
it sounds too happy.
It's so disappointing. And I mean, you get these callbacks, but like the notes are completely
It's like
different.
they're played on higher notes of a xylophone or something.
And that hurts the movie too, because a lot of these scenes that are supposed to be like real tense.
We never got the dun dun.
Yeah, they just feel kind of lame. But yeah, so Michael goes to the hospital, and then he has his final confrontation. Well, at the time in 1981, his final confrontation with Laurie and Loomis in like some fucking like gas room where there's like oxygen canisters or some shit.
Oxygen and ether.
Yeah, and ether and stuff. And then Laurie shoots Michael twice in both eyes, crack shot that girl, let me tell you. And she blinds
Is that
him.
where she shot him?
I think that's...
I don't understand that scene at all.
I think that's the intent because he's blind. Like he starts like, I know there's blood running down his eyes, but like there are other horror movies where people get like stabbed in the head and they can still look like when they've got blood all over their face or whatever. So I think he's supposed to get shot in the eyes.
Yeah, that's happened to me before.
Yeah, see, look at that. Justin
I didn't get shot in the eyes. I mean,
Justin
I had my eyes under my eye cut open and there was blood all over my
he
face.
was in a slasher movie. He was in Hostel Part 2. Anyway, so
I wish.
I don't. But so Laurie blinds him, Michael starts swinging, and then Dr. Loomis is like, "Get out of here!" And then
No,
Laurie,
he goes. "Arr, arr, arr."
yeah, he makes this weird like noise. Like I can't replicate it. If I can, I'll try to like throw it in here into the mix into the mix of the podcast because it's so fucking goofy. But he makes this noise and then he tells Laurie to leave. And then Laurie runs out and then he lights a lighter and presumably kills himself.
Boom.
And then because it makes a big explosion. And he presumably kills himself, and then Michael just kind of like walks out like T-1000 on fire, and
I have been terminated.
and then falls face first, and presumably once again dies. And that was the intention when John Carpenter wrote it. Was like, hey, he's dead. Fuck him.
It's like, don't do this again.
Don't make me do this again.
We're gonna make shitty Halloween 3 now.
And then he doesn't do it again, even when Halloween 4 comes around. But yeah, so Michael,
When it comes around,
quote unquote, dies, and then the movie starts and ends with Mr. Sandman, bring me some cream. So that's how the movie starts and ends, and that's the plot. I mean, there's not really anything to it.
There's
It's a
just a
slasher,
whole bunch
so.
of running around, blah blah blah, useless characters. It's kind of a movie you just keep sitting there waiting for it to get better, but it never does.
Yeah, that's like. And I think that's why the twist was thrown in there, just to kind of be like, oh,
But it was a
here's something
shitty twist.
interesting. But it was a shitty
It wasn't
twist.
even good.
It was a bad twist. Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, so.
But hey, the kills were good.
Yeah, the kills were definitely a step up. And like I mentioned earlier, that was John Carpenter's
And the
idea.
gore is what we're here for.
Yeah, that's why.
At
we're
least I'm
called-
here for.
That's why we're called Gore Goblins. I'm usually not too big on gore, but it's fine. I think I said that.
Your
last
intellect
episode.
goblin.
Sure, yeah, I like goblins. They're cool. But anyway, let's get to the kills now. So
First kill.
the first kill is this girl just in a house. You think it's gonna be this old couple that Michael takes the knife from at the beginning, but nah, it's just some woman talking on the phone and with some of the best line delivery I've ever heard, where like her friend's like, oh, it's all over the radio, and then she turns the radio up, and then she like goes back to the phone. She's like, oh, that's awful, like almost like she's in a fucking like commercial, and then she hears a noise, she turns around and the door's open, and she's like, whoa, why did I leave the door unlocked?
And then she just keeps saying, "Who is it?
yeah,
Who is it?"
because Michael, famously always responds whenever somebody asks who's there. But then Michael like shoots up like a fucking like like Jack in the Box and just stabs her in the chest.
Pop goes Louise.
And like you get a look into his eyes, and you also get your first real good look at the funky fucking mask. This is the first Halloween. I just want to take a minute to say this is the first Halloween where we get a stupid looking fucking mask. I hate this mask, and it's the same mask from the first movie, but Dick Warlock's fucking head is so differently shaped than Nick Castle, who played Michael in the first movie, that like it just looks fat now. Michael looks like he ate too much, and it's the same night.
I mean, it kind of looked like the mask was too big for him, to me.
Either way, it doesn't look right.
Because when he does the head tilt, the mask kind of sinks in and squishes itself.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think his head was smaller.
So another bit of trivia here is that mask sat under Deborah Hill's bed for like fucking 4 years. And then it was a lot of smoking was done in that room, so that's why the mask looks kind of yellowed. So, it's just it really sets the tone, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he doesn't kill that old couple. He kills this lady.
For no reason, really. I don't even know why he went into her house in the first place.
Because he's Michael. He's just spooking. He's a little scary boy. He likes to kill people. That's why.
He's chasing the goblins.
He's chasing the. Instead of chasing the dragon, he's chasing the goblins.
But anyways,
the next kill isn't done by Michael, if I remember right. The next kill.
Man, it doesn't matter. We're not going in order.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But the next kill I can remember.
It's fucking hilarious too.
Is great because Brackett and Dr. Loomis are like vibing in the car. And Loomis is like, bah, 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 bah. That's what he sounds like in the movie. And then Brackett's like, wah, nah, wah, nah. That's what he sounds like in the movie. So they're just talking. And then, like, Loomis, like, hears, like, some kid scream or some shit. And he looks to his left and he sees...
over there!
He's over there. Yeah, he's over there. And it's just, like,
Stop!
some dude that's obviously not Michael. Some little fucking kid just walking around who's inconspicuously dressed like Michael. That might be the wrong use of that word, but I don't care. He's dressed like Michael. And then, like, he just decides to cross the street without looking both ways. And this cop car just comes out of fucking nowhere and rams into him, into, like, a van that's just there.
It just explodes.
And it explodes. And my man burns to death. And he's just fucking... And it's Ben Tramer.
I didn't see him. He came out of nowhere.
It's Ben Tramer. And, of course, because we live in America, the cop murders him and doesn't get any, nothing happens to him. But that's besides the point.
We're not going to get political here. Don't worry.
But that's besides the point. Because he's on fire. And then, like...
This guy is on fire.
And then Brackett or Gary or whatever the fuck his name is. What was the fucking other cop's name? Gary? Hunt? Yeah,
Hunt
Gary
ran him
Hunt.
over.
It is Gary Hunt. He's like, oh. He's like, is it him? Is it him? And Loomis is just like having an existential crisis.
I don't know. He's on fire, dude.
As he's realizing that he's losing his fucking mind. And he's like, maybe it's not him. And then, like, another cop car comes and tells Brackett, hey, your daughter's dead, bro. And then he's like, ooh.
Annie.
And then that's his exit from the movie when he sees Annie's body. And then, like, he, like, closes her eyes, but then her eyes twitch because, she's still alive. But that's besides the point, once again. After that, we go back to the hospital.
You got this fat-ass security guard not doing his job.
This fat security guard, I think, also watching Night of the Living Dead. And Michael's like on the CCTV, just Michael walking, just taking his fucking time because that's what he does.
Going to Funky Town.
And the fucking security guard just looks at his like reading a book or some shit.
Reading a newspaper.
Whatever. It doesn't.
Surprised
matter.
they didn't give him some food.
And then, yeah, right. Like that's the stereotype.
And then the bitch nurse is like trying to call Lori's parents.
Oh yeah.
He's like, is there any way you can contact them? It's like, no. Well, I guess I'll just keep trying till I get the hold of them. I'm like, okay, bitch.
Yeah, and then she tells this other nurse, like, hey, go fucking talk to Mr. Garrett about the phone line or whatever, because the phones are down.
Because we all know security guards are trained to fix phone lines.
And then like he's just like, fine, I'll go look. Here, take this walkie-talkie that she doesn't know how to use.
I don't know how to work this thing.
And then Mr. Garrett's like, and then he fucking like waddles out of there. And then he gets jump scared by a cat because he's a big bitch. And then he
He's a pussy.
and then he goes into like this door for no reason
Because it was unlocked.
because it was unlocked. So it's not for no reason. But he goes into this door and then he tries like calling Janet. I think that's Janet. He tries calling Janet or whatever on the little walkie-talkie, and she's like, "I can't hear you. I don't know how to work this." And there's a lot of interference in general. And then he's scoping around, sees more unlocked doors, and then he opens like 2 of them. And then when he closes the second one, Michael pops up from behind the door.
He's got a hammer.
A claw with the claw end of the hammer just digs it into his skull.
And you get a nice ting sound
And
when
that's
it happens.
and it's a good practical effect. It's not super bloody, but it's a good practical effect. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Best kill of the movie, honestly.
Yeah, it might be. Now I'm thinking, I kind of like how ridiculous Ben Tramer's is, but that one is like really good as far as the ones Michael does. Although we're getting to a good one in a little bit here, because the other kill that I can remember, and again that's the best part about this. It's the ones I can remember. Is the nurse and Buddy or whatever, Bud, because they're in the hot tub, which is supposed to be like a water
It's a
rehabilitation
therapeutic
tank.
tub thing or whatever.
Yeah, so these 2 fucking horny ass people are about to
Well,
fucking a
the
rehabilitation.
nurse wasn't
tank.
horny. She was like, oh, fine.
bored,
Just
yeah.
to shut him up.
Yeah, which I mean we've all been there, but that's besides the point. So Bud's like ready in this shitty ass weird gross jacuzzi, and then like Michael creeps in and fucking turns the heat up, and then they're making out, and then the nurse is like, "Oh, it's hot in here," and he's like, "Oh, it's just me, baby," and I wanted to throw my phone at the screen, and then she eventually tells him, like, "Hey, go check on it." So then he's like, all right, forget about it. So then he gets up and he goes to check on it. And then, like, as he's tinkering with it,
Michael strangles him.
Michael strangles him, but, like, it's out of focus because he's behind, like, frosted glass or whatever. And the shot is, like, the nurse is, like, putting a robe on and, like, doing her hair or whatever. And then homeboy's getting strangled. And then Michael walks out and, like, puts his hand on her shoulder. And then she thinks it's him. And she, like, starts kissing it and, like, sucking on the fingers and shit. And I'm like, Michael's hand is gross. Like, you should have known that was not his hand. Also, it's not as hairy as Bud, because Bud was a hairy man. Like, you should have known that wasn't him. And then she, like, turns around and sees the suit, and Michael's just like, fuck you. And he, like, just starts dunking her head in this boiling jacuzzi thing.
Melts her skin off.
That's the kill that Mom remembers, because she told me about that one. I remember she told me when I was a little boy.
And they say women can stand the hot showers.
Well, I don't know if I've ever heard that. I don't think I've ever heard that before. But it wasn't a shower in her defense. It was she's dead. That's the point. Like, her face, like, melts off. That's a good practical
She's
effect,
dead.
too. I think that's a good practical effect.
But Michael's hand is completely unharmed.
Yeah, because he's invincible, I guess. And that's a running theme, I guess.
I mean, he's already been shot 6 times.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep doing that.
I know. He's already been shot 6 times. And then the next kill, I think that's when Jimmy finds the body of old Nurse Ratchet.
No. First, that other nurse finds Dr. Mixter.
Oh yeah. One of the most infamous kills in the movie, because a lot of people talk about this one for some reason.
I don't see why.
Like, it's nothing,
uninteresting.
It's not that great.
He had a needle in his eye with something Michael injected him with.
Yeah, so this nurse goes to check on Dr. Mixton, whatever, mixtape.
Because Lori's like having some reaction to her anesthesia or whatever.
Yeah, because she's like zoning out, and
She's
that's when
high
Jimmy,
as fuck this entire movie.
and that's when Jimmy creeps on her. Yeah, and Dr. Mixter's all like, I'm dead, because he like turns around in his chair, or like she turns the chair around, and like he's just got a needle in his eye.
Michael does the same to her.
And then Michael does the same thing to her, but like through the temple, which you probably hurt a lot. But man, that was a strong ass needle to go through bone. That's.
I mean, you probably just stuck it through her eye over here.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's Michael.
But it's
with
also
his
Michael.
super strength.
He's Superman, but serial killer. So he
went crazy, and we still called him Superman.
So yeah, so he did that. That's her death, and then the next couple deaths are really lame. You just find that Nurse Ratched bitch like bled out
through an IV,
which
Which how did Michael know how to do that? Well, he's been in a mental institution, so they probably gave him something.
Mental institution forever.
He studied.
He studied. He studied the ways of it.
I wanna be no.
And and then Jimmy comes in because he's the one that finds the body. So Jimmy comes in and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then he like turns around and slips on the blood and like
bangs his head on the ground.
Basically, yeah, bangs his head on the ground.
And this is ultimately what kills him.
And he bangs his head on the ground.
Little Jimmy.
And meanwhile,
got him.
Lori, to give context for this, Lori gets wind that Michael's there for some reason. I don't know how does she figure it out?
She's just out of her fucking mind, and she just doesn't know what she's doing.
She's just like paranoid or some shit. Women, am I right? I'm just kidding.
No,
but anyway,
she's high.
So she does that, and she fucks off, and she like hides in this car, and then Jimmy like goes into the car because I'm assuming she's hiding in Jimmy's car,
Yeah.
and Jimmy's like bonked out of his mind because he busted his fucking head open.
Don't worry. We're going to get out of here.
And then he just face plants the steering wheel. And
dies.
And he dies. Because he's a very bland death for a very bland character.
Mr. Mumble all his lines except for 2.
Yeah, he mumbled every single fucking line. He's like he's just like, "Oh, you want a Coke? You want a Coke, Lori? I'll get you a Coke. I'll get you a Coke." Like he was doing that.
And then you
shit.
better give me a poke.
Yeah, see, that's what he's into, and that's okay. We support that at Gore
I
Goblins.
don't.
But
Fuck that guy.
We support that at Gore Goblins.
Fuck that guy.
But that guy doesn't deserve it, is our point, because he was boring. But after that, the other nurse was a Janet Jill, the other nurse Jill. She like tries to escape for whatever reason. I don't remember why she tries to leave, but she tries to leave and her tires are slashed. And her car won't start in general.
I mean, I'll give that the only creative part about this movie, the fact that Michael what's the word? Not disarmed. Disabled all the cars.
Yeah, he disabled
instead
every
of
single
just
car.
Somehow magically the one who tried to get away in a car. Oh, my car's fucked up. No, Michael went and just popped every tire in the parking lot.
It popped every tire and fucked with her engine specifically, I think. But yeah, then she goes back in, and then she's trying to talk to.
She's trying to call the security guard.
Yeah, she's trying to call a security guard. And then Michael comes out behind her.
Well, first she sees Lori again and is like, wait.
Oh, yeah,
she
she calls for Lori. That's right. She calls for Lori because I was trying to think of who she was calling to. She calls for Lori, and then she gets stabbed in the back and then lifted with a scalpel, which is impressive, I gotta say.
Michael's a beast.
That's pretty impressive. The fact that he can leverage that much with a fucking scalpel. So he does that, and then she dies. He probably like stabbed her in the spine or some shit. But she dies. Good for her. And then Lori's like, "Oh shit!" So then she starts running for Michael. We get a nice little chase sequence. And then she ends up like, oh no! I think Jill dies before Jimmy because she's in the car when Loomis and them get there.
No, she's not.
Yes, she is because she's crawling out. She's crawling out, and that's when she tries to yell for help.
Oh yeah.
And
Okay,
then-
we went backwards on that one.
And then so we went backwards. It doesn't matter because that's why we put the synopsis before, so that way we didn't fuck up like that.
We got structure, people.
And we fucked up anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then the next kill is to give context to it. Lori sees Michael to her left, and it's this really cool shot where like he's bathed in this red light that I really like that shot. The mask kind of makes it look doofy, but whatever. And then Lori, gathers up her strength and runs to the door. Loomis tells Marion to like fucking search every room. And Lori's banging on the door, and this marshal that came to escort Loomis back to the fucking asylum or whatever.
He hears it first, but he's not the one to let her in.
He hears it first. And then like I get who's the one that lets her in?
Loomis let her in.
Loomis lets her in. Oh man, I don't even remember that. Yeah, Loomis lets her in.
We literally watched this 10 minutes ago.
Listen, man, I was zoned out for half of it because I'm sleepy for some reason. I should have taken a nap, but I didn't. So now here we are.
And now you got a slap.
And now, yeah, exactly. So Loomis lets her in, and then she's like, "Oh, he's coming! Oh, he's coming!" Because he was like, Michael, he doesn't run. He just fucking walks. So, like, he's walking towards her.
Oh, Lord, he's coming.
And then he just fucking busts through the glass door like it's made out of paper.
He just walks through it.
He just walks through it. And
fuck this door.
And then Loomis shoots him, like, what, 3 times?
Yep.
3 times Loomis shoots him. And he falls down. And then the marshal's like, "Oh, I gotta see if he's dead."
No,
And
he's
Loomis
like,
is
he's dead. He's don't.
And then Loomis is like, "Don't go near him. He's still breathing." And then the dude's like, "All right." And then Loomis tells Marion to, like, go fucking do her thing.
Go get on the radio and call the sheriff.
Go get on the radio, call the sheriff, girl.
And Marshall's like, "Nah, I'm the only one authorized to use that radio."
Yeah.
And Loomis, "Fuck you, man."
Yeah, basically. And then Marion goes and does that, and then like Loomis is checking on Lori, and then the fucking Marshall, against a doctor's advice, fucking checks on Michael again, and gets his throat slit with a scalpel. Classic kill. That's one of the more memorable ones that I remember seeing bits and pieces of a bunch when people talk about this movie. So then he gets his throat slit.
And then we just get the final confrontation between Lori, Loomis, and Michael.
We get that final confrontation we talked about where Michael and Loomis allegedly die. And of course, we know they don't. But the movie wants you to think they do. But so those are the kills, and, like, they're good, but they're the franchise has better. But they're definitely a step up from the first movie. Because in the first movie, a lot of it's off screen, a lot of it's not really bloody, and which I enjoyed. But if you're a gorehound like Justin, this movie kind of, I guess, suits your taste a little bit more.
I mean,
in that regard,
yeah. Would I have liked it gorier? Maybe.
Yeah.
Would it have been better gorier? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. But
yeah. To me, best kill is the hammer.
Yeah, the hammer is a really good one. I think the one that I like a lot is the nurse getting her face boiled, or the which one was it? Or Ben Tramer's, just for the meme.
Splattered.
Yeah, because Ben Tramer's death is just goofy.
It's like, we need an explosion in this movie.
And I like goofy kills. I really do like goofy kills. They make me laugh, and that one kind of made me laugh. So that works.
Got a good yuck out of that.
Yeah, he was... Poor Ben Tramer, just walking around and not looking both ways like a fucking idiot. But anyway...
He was dumb anyway for not announcing who he was when someone pointed a gun at him.
So now, yeah, and that's the other thing, too. All he had to do was just be like, "Hey, man, it's me, Ben Tramer. Laurie's crush from the first Halloween. Don't you know me?" And then that would have been fine, but, that wasn't in the script, so... but anyway, so now, I guess for lack of a better term, we're just going to talk about the movie. Just like our general discussion. This is the part of the episode where we just more or less review it and just talk about things we liked and things we didn't like, which we already kind of did, but now it's its own section.
We're going to do it again.
Because we need structure. Everybody needs structure. That's why people have jobs in school, But that's besides the point, because Halloween 2, for me, it's I don't know. I don't think too highly of it, just because the modern movies exist, and I think those are much better. But I mean, it's like Justin said earlier, it just feels like a movie that didn't want to be made, and that's too bad. Because
so sad.
You can tell John Carpenter wrote it with a grudge, and he did not want to do it. And it is what it is, I guess. I mean, it's got some good moments. but a lot of the tension that was there in the original, a lot of the character that the original had is kind of absent here. And I don't know if that's the direction or if that's the writing or if it's both. But I mean, you know, it's still fine.
Yeah.
It might not be the weakest Halloween sequel, but it certainly isn't the best. Not by a fucking mile. Like, not even close. And I hate to compare it to the original, but like, I don't know, it's just not there.
I mean, what else can you compare it to if
Yeah.
we're going in order?
It just didn't really hit for me. But yeah, what do you think, Justin?
Yeah, kind of feel the same. It's a background movie to me, really. Like, I'd turn it on as something just to have playing.
Yeah, like while
And
you're
then barely pay attention to it.
Yeah, because that's what I was doing. I was falling asleep throughout the movie, which is partly because I'm tired, but partly because I mean nothing was fucking happening. Like it was a lot of characters I didn't care about talking to each other, and then like one or two really good kills, and then that's it. It wasn't really. I don't know. It just didn't match
We
up.
don't
to the
even
first one
end
at
the
all.
movie with the Halloween theme. We get fucking Mr. Sandman again.
Yeah, and that's I don't know why. What the choice of Mr. Sandman? Why? why make Mr. Sandman? Why put Mr. Sandman in there? I guess it's to like because Laurie has like a little dream sequence kind of when she's fucking high out of her mind.
That made no sense.
She has this dream sequence where she remembers like visiting Michael in the asylum, and that's and so like that's the first hint that you get that they're related or some shit. Because the other hint is a little more direct, where like Michael breaks into a school for some reason. He writes Sam Hain on the fucking green
We're not going to
board,
bother explaining that.
and they don't. Yeah, he's just it's whatever. That's the point where you could tell John Carpenter was definitely drunk when he was writing it.
They just threw in a lot of unnecessary shit.
Yeah, and then like the knife that he stole from that old lady is like stabbed into like a drawing of a family that I'd like to imagine Michael took the time to draw. I think that would
I
be
don't think
funny
he drew it.
if my guy was sitting on the floor with his legs up in the air, just coloring out.
Oh, you know another thing this
family
movie
picture.
didn't give us?
What?
Classic posing of the bodies.
Yeah, there's only really one. It's just Mr. Garrett, isn't it?
He hangs him after he hammers him.
Yeah, and that's it. And
That's it.
then fucking what's her name? The Nurse Ratched.
You can't count that one as a pose. He
Yeah,
just
it's
put
not a
an
pose, it's
IV on
just-
her and threw her on a bed.
But like out of the two bodies that were found, only one of them was really yeah, I guess quote unquote posed. But yeah, that's like one of Michael's. I mean, we talked about it last episode. That's one of our favorite things of the first movie is that he takes the time to like make this fucking haunted house exhibit with the bodies.
And then we bring it up again also because he does it in later movies. So it's
Yeah.
obviously a thing for him.
Yeah, but like I said, I think that's lended to the fact that John Carpenter just didn't want to fucking make this movie. And
Or you
that's
could
why that's why he
excuse
didn't
it that
direct
Michael's in a rush to.
Yeah, and that's why he didn't direct it is because he didn't want to do it. He's like I don't want to do it anymore. But yeah, that Laurie twist is I think one of the biggest like marks against it, because good horror is simple. You know, like good horror can have a twist, but if it's a bad twist that overcomplicates the initial concept, then it doesn't help anything, right?
Nope.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things that go nowhere in the movie, and the writing is, I think, what really hurts it the most. The writing of the characters, the dialogue, all that. The only thing it really has going for it is just like not even the music is going for it. Like
Nope.
we talked about earlier, the fucking music sounds jovial and but I mean, I don't think it's the worst Halloween movie. It's definitely not the best, but I don't think it's the worst.
I don't hate it. Don't really care for it that much either.
It's very a middle of the road type movie for me. It's
Which
very
is-
just like very down the middle. Like there's not really a lot that I like or hate about it. It's just a typical slasher, I guess. Nothing special, nothing to it, which is kind of disappointing. But I mean, I'm sure people in 1981 liked it. Obviously,
yeah.
they made fucking 3 more of these things with Michael, and then more of that. with all the reboot. Oh, God, it's gonna be a lot to get through, but that's besides the point. So my overall thoughts on it are that it's just a kind of middle of the road slasher, nothing special. Michael's underutilized, Laurie's underutilized. The music's not as good. One thing I did like was the opening credits though. I liked how the pumpkin kind of split in half to show the skull.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
like
that
that.
was kind of neat. It kind of gave you this real, I guess, ominous vibe that a
That
good
went
Halloween
nowhere.
title card should do. Yeah, but again, it just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of went nowhere. Yeah, but yeah, so that's it's just middle of the road. It's fine. It's nothing special. I'm not gonna I don't think I'm gonna be rewatching this one as much as the other ones.
Nope.
But it's whatever. What do you think, Justin? What are your final thoughts on Halloween 2?
Boring, bland, decent kills. So that satisfies that itch for me. But overall, just like I said, you can tell it's a movie that didn't want to be made.
Yeah, and like I hate to like repeat myself here, but like that's what it feels that like there's not a lot to say about this movie. It's just a shallow retreading of the original set in a hospital, and it's not that great. But anyway, I think that's all we have to say about Halloween 2, huh?
Yep.
To stop the risk of us repeating ourselves again for another 10 minutes, because I can't think of anything else to say about it. Can you, Justin? Anything you got?
I mean, watch it if you want to get through the whole series. You don't need it to understand the timeline, especially the new one. But it's a one and done.
Yeah, that's probably how I feel about it too.
That's why this is only the second time I've seen it.
Much like the characters, it's real one note, unfortunately. But that's all we have to say about Halloween 2.
Yep.
Next time, we're going to be looking at Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which is a departure from the
You thought the
slasher,
second one was shit.
because it's not even a slasher movie. It's like a weird fucking like drama that's somehow gorier than the second movie, from what I can remember.
Get some llama drama.
So, yeah, can't wait to cover that.
And go slap your mama.
I don't know what you just said. I'm sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. My point is, Halloween 3 is next week, next week, whenever we fucking release these. And then after that, we're going to just keep on trucking. But until then, remember, kids, be nice to goblins.
Or they'll steal your cat.
Yeah, they will do that. You don't want that. So yeah, we'll just tune in next time. Same goblin time, same goblin channel. That's the outro.
Yeah.
That's the outro I like.
And stay gory.
Yeah, stay gory. Bye-bye.